It's great to hang out with our good buddy Andrew Bone. This is the original Bama football tailgate show, and we're getting ready for Alabama and Kentucky. This will actually be recorded and used on Saturday. And so I love to do this where we kind of just like let everyone know that, because then they're like, hey, why are these guys talking like it's Saturday? Well, you guys will know because it will be Saturday for a lot of people. Early Saturday, though, with Bama playing Kentucky on Saturday. How cool was that LSU win? I know you had to be like me, a little concerned going into the game.
Yeah, I did wonder, would Alabama be able to keep up scoring wise? And I knew LSU's defense wasn't, what we're used to seeing. Give up a lot of points and a lot of yards, and would Alabama be able to get enough stops? A lot more faith in Alabama's defense than the LSU defense. But I mean, Jaden Daniels is a special player. I mean, he is. He is an electric football player. Can make a lot of plays, beat you in a number of different ways. I mean, great passer. Obviously, messed Alabama up a little bit with his breakaways, but man, great atmosphere. I talked to enough people about that game. It's probably the first Alabama LSU home game that I've missed in my entire life. I mean,
wow.
And obviously having a 1 month old at the house, plus a 2-year-old, it's a little challenging to get away with, which I was hoping I was going to be able to get down there, but I didn't make it. But talking to everybody under the sun about the experience down there, not just recruits, but friends of mine, family members who were at the game, saying it was probably the best atmosphere they've seen at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Nice.
In, the last decade. So. It looked like it was a rocking time. I mean, we've seen a lot of different videos. I saw the decibel level, which I think broke a Bryant-Denny Stadium record when
nice.
Terry and Arnold got that interception. Was that in the third or fourth quarter?
End of the third, right?
Yeah. So, unbelievable win for Alabama. Obviously, an interesting game this weekend at Kentucky, 11 a.m. kickoff. Alabama doesn't not really used to those type of kickoffs, but they had one earlier this season, so we'll see. We'll see if they wake up early. I do think it's going to be one of those games where it might be a little sluggish at first, but they'll pull away in the end.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I feel like. This is first thing is that there's a lot of people in the media, but there's not a lot of people in the media that cover Alabama that love Alabama like we do. You know what I'm saying? Like you work with people that it's a job. For us, it's like it's miserable when the team loses. You know what I mean? Especially to like LSU and Tennessee, like last year, it's a misery. So it's great to see the Tide win, and Coach Saban asked the crowd to be loud, and they did that. So that's cool. The line's only 11 in this game, and that's curious to me. I think Vegas still isn't bought and sold on Alabama. I think they know Alabama's good, but they don't feel like they're dominant like they used to be. This would have been a game 2 years ago that the line would have been like, I don't know, 20, 21, And I feel like they're a little behind because there were times where Bama would be like way ahead of everybody else. They'd be playing like last year when you knew they weren't very good on the road. And then they would have these really big lines, and it was like, there's no way they're going to hit this, I feel like we're kind of on the other side of that now. I mean, I can feel this team coming together. Do you feel the same way too?
Yeah, ever since the I guess the end of the South Florida game, and really the first half of the Ole Miss game, I think Jalen probably had a lot of uncertainty about his position. Was he going to be the starter? And now they've now he doesn't have to really look over his shoulder and worry too much about somebody coming in and replacing him, or Coach Saban pulling them and saying, hey, let's give somebody else a try. He's the guy, and they've done a lot of new things, thrown in some new wrinkles. Finally letting him run the football a little bit more, which has been obviously a huge success, especially in that LSU game. But yeah, I mean, I think the team is certainly starting to come together a lot more. They know what they've got in front of them, and as far as the lines are concerned, I think it makes things a little bit more interesting for Alabama fans, maybe a little bit even a little bit more fun, because we were used to seeing these huge lines, and a lot of times Alabama would easily cover those lines back in the day, and you're just like, all right, Alabama's going in, they're going to win this game, it's going to be an easy win. It didn't matter who it was at the time either, but now you're going in, you don't know really what to expect.
Right.
Is it going to be a tight ball game? Is it going to be a game that comes down to the final drive of the fourth quarter, or will they potentially have a blowout win? You just don't know, and that's going against really any of these opponents. So I still don't think Alabama's put together 4 complete quarters just yet. I mean, they were pretty great on Saturday against LSU. At least the offense, the defense gave up a few plays, but they were able to shut it down towards the end. But it's still an area where I think that Alabama, once they play those 4 full quarters, they could probably beat anybody in the country.
And I feel like that too. But these are tough games. You got this one, you got the Auburn game, and that they're that's then the Georgia game's looming. I got a feeling that the 2 games on the road are going to be tougher than the Georgia game. I know that sounds crazy, but I just feel like Georgia's due a loss, and Alabama owes them. But we got to get there first. That's the tough part about where we are right now, because I mean, like, nothing's wrapped up yet. So these games really matter. And I think that Saban has, since he's been head coach, Bone, has done a great job in having the guys prepared for these type of games. Yeah,
I mean, you very seldom see letdowns. I mean, it happens, obviously, and we've seen some tough games for Alabama, some tough losses, but for the most part, especially going on the road after a big win, Alabama should be focused, and they know that. And I think they've heard the outside noise that this could potentially be a trap game for them. There's a couple guys that don't look like they're going to play on the defensive side for Alabama today, but I think they're going to have a chance to still go out there and secure a victory.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Bone, let's get into some recruiting. Let's crank up the show, and we'll get this thing going. You'll hear the band music, and then when you hear that, that we are Saturday instead of Friday. So we're taking the DeLorean into the future right now. Great to be joined by Andrew Bone as we get you set for Alabama and Kentucky. That's an 11 o'clock kickoff, Kroger Field, Lexington. Want to remind you guys that the show is presented by Yuengling, America's oldest brewery, a 6th-generation company, and our friend Cheryl Yuengling, who graduated from Alabama. Same tenure, same university as Bone and I back in the day. Puts a little bit of crimson love in each one of those bottles. And when you're looking for that alternative to Mick Ultra, you need to try Yuengling Flight. Great taste, crisp, low in carbs and calories. And you can pick that up wherever you get your beers. All right, let's get into this, Bone. First off, the gang at On3, Bama Online, killing it. Love the content. Miss hanging out with you guys, including you. So it's awesome to have you on here today. Keep up the good work. A lot going on in recruiting. And I guess this time of year, we want to know Who's going to be the early enrollees at Alabama for that next class?
Yeah, I mean, there is, the last couple of years we've seen, a high number of kids that have been able to enroll early, get on campus, and not only just get on campus, but compete in bowl practices. Julian Sang, for instance, told me a couple of weeks ago, number one quarterback in the country, Alabama, commitment, been a long time. Commitment to Alabama since, I guess, last November, so over a year now. He said he's going to graduate, I believe, on December the 14th. And then he said December the 15th, he's flying. He's on a flight to Tuscaloosa. So you're going to see a lot of those kids in this 2024 class that are going to be there for bowl practices, 16 total as of now. Obviously, that number can change when, we start seeing more kids make decisions over the course of this next month or so. But, yeah, I mean, a lot of guys coming in, as I mentioned, Julian Sang being one of those guys. And I wrote a story earlier this week on, five guys that I felt like, this could really benefit, to get there early, to start, training, to start going through practices, to get acclimated with everything. And, a lot of these guys aren't necessarily going to come in and start right off the bat. Some of them are going to still have to wait their turn. There are going to be some guys that, it's going to be hard to keep them off the field in some capacity, whether that's, special teams, or you never know. I mean, you might even have somebody come in and make an impact as a starter. We saw with Caleb Downs, Caden Proctor. Will we potentially see another secondary guy come in and make an impact? Jalen Mbakwe, 5-star corner out of Clay-Chalkville, one of the best players in the country, rated as the number one athlete in the country, actually. Played his entire senior season at quarterback, led his team to an undefeated record. They beat Thompson this year, going into the state playoffs. I think that, him getting to campus early, he hasn't played corner much this season, but that's the position he's going to play. And Alabama could potentially lose maybe 2 corners, in the spring, with Kool-Aid McKinstry and potentially Terry and Arnold. Both of those guys could declare early, go in the draft, and there's going to be there's going to be a spot or two open at the cornerback position. So you get somebody like Jalen Mbakwe in there, 5-star kid, got all the tools you look for. Get him there in January, start working with him, get him prepared, and he may not start, but he's at least going to add some competition to that cornerback room, and really push some guys to step up and kind of take the bull by the horn. So, yeah, I mean, we've seen the benefits of this. These kids are more and more kids every single year. Enroll early. Casey Poe, for instance, number one interior offensive lineman in the country out of Texas. He's going to be enrolling early, and he was not planning to do that. He was a state champion in the shot put and discus as a sophomore. Now, he didn't win it as a junior, so he kind of had it in his head that he was going to go back. Wants to win it again. And so he was like, I'll enroll in May. But talked to Alabama a little bit, and he decided that it was time for him to just set that aside, get to Tuscaloosa, start doing what he was meant to do. So we might see another player or two do that over the course of the next month. But as of right now, 16 early enrollees.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff. Let's talk recruiting. What does Alabama have going on right now? What are they doing to try to solidify this class, the 2024 class? I know they have most of it done. And then is there anything going on outside of that you think is important and that we can follow at Bama Online and on the On3 Sports Network?
Yeah, so as far as Alabama is concerned, the biggest thing is trying to finish out this class and hit your remaining needs. You look at the offense side of the ball. I think they still want to get a running back. They want to make sure that their guys who are committed right now, stay committed. Caleb Odom, the number one tight end in the country, that took back-to-back visits to Ole Miss. But I think Alabama is still, in a pretty good position with Caleb Odom. As we as we get a little bit closer to the early signing period, trying to get an offensive lineman. Jordan Seaton remains kind of their top priority on the offensive line front. Not really a lot of other offensive targets for Alabama. Defensive side of the ball, a few more. Defensive line, still looking for maybe 2, potentially 3. But I think as long as they can get 2 defensive linemen over the course of the next month or so, they're going to be pretty happy with the D-line class. Potentially 1 more, maybe 2 more linebackers. I think they'd like to get another inside guy. I think they'd like to get an edge rusher. And then, defensive back wise, still 1 guy out there, Zay Mincy, but Alabama has 6 defensive back commitments. I think they'd be fine, shutting it down there. But Zay Mincy out of Mainland High School in Daytona Beach, if he decided that he wants to come, I don't think they would turn him down. But like I said, the biggest focus is just trying to hit those remaining needs, trying to keep the kids that are in your class committed, get them signed, and then move on to complete focus to 2025, which as of right now, Alabama has 7 commitments in their 2025 class. They could potentially have 8 come Sunday, because Zion Grady, top 100 outside linebacker from Charles Henderson High School in Troy, he will be announcing his college commitment on Sunday at 3 p.m. So that's something that we're going to be watching very closely at Bama Online, and we'll have full coverage of Zion's commitment. If he picks Alabama, of course. If he goes somewhere else, like Auburn or Georgia, Florida State, those guys will have it as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully he comes to Tuscaloosa, right? We need some more impact players. Bone, this segment always presented in part by newlifeart.com. You can see I'm like covered in the Daniel Moore prints here in the studio. You walk in and you can't miss the wall of champions, I call it. The Daniel Moore prints from each of Nick Saban's championship wins are on the wall, and here you love them as well. And you can use the promo code Bama Tailgate for a discount. The code Bama Tailgate or Mick Gillispie at checkout. And always a lot of really cool deals, including free calendar with purchase, stuff like that. So what can people expect to see from you, Bone, at Bama Online?
Well, obviously, we're going to continue to, bring out, a lot of coverage, leading up to the early signing period, the big names that are, still on the board, where things stand in their recruitment, a lot of predictions. Obviously, we'll be interacting with fans, every single day on the Bama Online message board, the roundtable. So come check us out. Come hang out with us. I think you can subscribe for $1 for 1 month.
Oh, nice.
So check it out, BamaOnline.com, where you get to hang out with me, get to hang out with our entire staff. We got a great staff over there. Cover the team, cover recruiting. Basketball season is off to a hot start. So, we'll be talking hoops, talking football, and recruiting every day on Bama Online.
Awesome. Yep. All-star team over there, Bama Online, part of On3 Sports. When we come back to the Flora-Bama, we're going to have a drink in honor of Bone. We're going to, Bone, for you, since we're playing Kentucky, we're going to do a screwball old-fashioned. So we'll see how that tastes. Yeah, it's going to be delicious in your honor. Don't go anywhere. More of the original Bama Football Tailgate Show after this.